what is milk fever? What are the signs, the causes? What should you do? How do you prevent it? I think when a small homestead has a family dairy cow and something like that happens, it can be devastating because you can lose them over that. So if we
Yeah.
could cover that.
So, all right. So, milk fever used to be a generic term. It was hypocalcemic, meaning that the cow was not processing or mobilizing calcium in her bloodstream correctly. That's a very much older way of thinking. Now we're seeing milk fevers from a lack of magnesium, a lack of calcium. It could be a lack of calcium, could be a lack of magnesium, and we're even seeing milk fevers now with a lack of phosphorus. Having the right kind of phosphorus in the diet. So it's really hard to know which one of those minerals to use. Here in the States, a common product used is CMPK. It's a liquid that is given intravenously. CMPK standing for calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and potassium is the common treatment here. The signs are the cow will be down pretty much flat. And her throat is swelling and closing off the airways, and she'll asphyxiate. She'll basically not be able to breathe if you don't treat it quickly enough. The causes are mineral deficient. I mean, the causes are mineral shortages at the time of freshening. Okay. And they need to be addressed within the last 30 days before the calf comes. Prevention, it's really tough. So, like in your part of the world up there's a lot of alfalfa being grown, and your soils are extremely high in potassium. So that excess amount of potassium is interfering with the uptake of calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium. So I would highly encourage people to do a forage test and to talk to, look, you can talk to one of the nutritionists down here at Fertrell, pretty much any time, right? You can do it email, you can do it on the telephone, you can do it, we communicate at whatever level you want to communicate, right? And good descriptions of what you're feeding, a forage test, we can help you get right on track for what the dry cow needs. And also what the cow, when she's lactating, after she calves, what she's going to need for minerals, and try and help you through it. Prevention is going to be proper nutrition. And it's really key. Like I said, that last 30 days, the most important period is that last 30 days before she has the calf, right? Getting those minerals balanced, cations, anions, getting all that, wrapped up and put in neat order. And it can be very overwhelming and confusing to, smaller dairy producers with one cow, two cows, even up to 10 cows, right? Because there's not nutritionists out there that want to work with, the homestead cow or the homestead farmer. They don't take the time to do it. So, signs are going to be like droopy eyes, droopy ears, lethargic, not moving, thrifty, just kind of moping around, so to speak. And that's your warning signs. I learned from years ago, I learned from a farmer, you always want to feel the ears of a cow, right? You want to, when you feel the ears, it's not like you just want to reach out and grab them because she's going to pull her head away. So you kind of want to feel her ears in an affectionate type motion where, you scratch her head a little bit, you rub her ear, let her calm down, let her know you're not, trying to wrestle her into a bad situation. So you're feeling that ear temperature, you're feeling if it's cold, because they actually lose body temperature during a milk fever. And even though they call it a fever, the temperature is actually going the other direction. It's dropping. So normal temperature for a cow is about 101. um, between 100 and 101, and it varies a little bit whether it's a Holstein, whether it's a Jersey, etc. But
Mm-hmm.
feel the ears for coldness. But what I learned from this farmer, and I laughed because I thought he was just being crazy. But he said, you rub the ear kind of like you would your pet dog, right? You just kind of rub the ear a little bit. For whatever reason, that stimulation of rubbing the ear, if she's magnesium deficient,
Mm-hmm.
she will stick her tongue out. Okay. I have no idea what causes this trigger. Now, people are going to laugh after they watch this video, and that's fine. They can laugh all they want. But since that farmer told me that 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
there's at least a dozen cows that are still alive or lived
Mm-hmm.
because I was able to rub their ears
Mm-hmm.
or coach the farmer to rub their ears. And if they stick their tongue out, open their mouth and start to stick their tongue out,
Mm-hmm.
treated them with magnesium, and using Epsom salts is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'll work with you on another formula that people can actually put together themselves, and as a preventative for milk fever, that
Mm-hmm.
as long as they're comfortable drenching, giving an oral supplementation.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be careful because if the neck is not straight when they give oral, drenching to a cow,
Mm-hmm.
um, it can go down into the lungs and cause pneumonia. So that
Right.
that neck needs to be up and straight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So either that or you let her drink it. But there's a kitchen homemade recipe that can help some people right over that point of freshening uh,
Mm-hmm.
to avoid milk fevers.
Right. So that means, if we're talking about having a forage analysis so that you know what's in there, it's probably good to have that ahead, because once you're dealing with your cow that's already kind of down or not feeling so good, it's going to take a while for
You
that.
don't have time. No, you
Yeah.
don't have time to do that. Yeah, we definitely want to be proactive and
Yeah.
have that forage analysis. So, I mean, we could go on and on and on. I didn't know we were going to talk about cows today, but we could go on. And there's so much to this, but people need to go find their forage, whether it's pasture, whether it's hay, whatever they're supplementing with.
Mm-hmm.
Don't keep changing around. So don't buy a few bales from this farmer and a few bales from this farmer and a few bales from this farmer. You need to stay consistent.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say this is it takes a minimum of 21 days
Mm-hmm.
for a cow's digestive tract to adjust to a change in forage. Okay. So every time you change farms, you've changed mineral structure in the plant, and it takes, it's going to be a 21-day change. She's going to be a lot more happy if you find one supplier of hay,
Mm-hmm.
and you stay with that person year round. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got to make a change, you need to do this change over a 2 to 3 week period. So you're gradually increasing this one and decreasing that one so she can adjust with it. But sudden changes in forages is very stressful and hard on a cow.
Mm-hmm. Does that go too for switching from winter hay to spring pasture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, people that do 100% pasture, I'm not a fan. A cow should always have access to good quality hay year round. Okay.
Okay.
She knows what kind of fiber she needs. She needs that drier, effective fiber, especially in the spring and the fall when pastures are extremely lush.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she needs that to feed her rumen or her rumen mat. Okay. So inside her rumen is a thick mat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That mat is what feeds your cow. People need to do some research on rumen mat and just read about it. And inside that rumen mat are all the bacteria, fungi, nematodes, everything that breaks down. So they live there. And then whenever she eats something, they kind of come off of there and they'll feed on whatever she ate, but that is her, that's what keeps her healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
humans don't feed the cow. What's in her rumen feeds the cow. all we do is put stuff in front of her.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. But I do remember when we had a dairy cow, it was a bit of a treat if you went. They weren't loose on the pasture yet, but you go out there and you find them like a juicy dandelion. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they see you coming like a mile away. They just
And you bring up dandelions, and people don't understand that dandelions were put here for a reason. And dandelions are really high in protein. They run around 25%, but that's not the point. So, dandelions are actually an excellent liver purge or liver cleanse.
Mhm,
So, being on stored feed all winter long, right?
mhm,
To have a patch of, dandelions, don't go out and kill them. Don't go out and get rid of them, right?
mhm,
Your cow needs that to clean out her liver.
mhm.
The other thing is dandelions help mobilize calcium in the bloodstream, so you'll reduce those milk fevers. Okay.
Okay.
So if you had a paddock or if you had an area just for freshening your cow that was nothing but dandelions,
Mhm.
she would be the happiest cow ever.